Today I have with us a very special guest called Andreas Drakos, who I'm actually on a board with him. The holding company of St. Raphael Resort and Marina is called Alltime Tourist Complex, and Andreas sits on our board. But more importantly than that, he's a friend for so many years. We go back a long way. I actually did my work experience when I first finished. I did a few weeks working in his head office with Cyprotels. And he is the chairman of Cyprotels, which is a large group that he's going to tell us more about, and also has a aviation company, again, called Alltime Aviation, and many, many other hats on that he's going to tell us about now. Andrea, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the invitation. Lovely to be here.
Couldn't do this without you. So I want to learn something today. So I know you really well, but I'm going to ask you to start at the beginning and tell us about everything, your childhood, where you grew up, coming to Cyprus, how you started work, and what your first work was.
We have an hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
we have as long as you want.
Moved to London in 1972 at the age of 14 and a half.
So before the invasion?
Yes, it was just before.
So how did that happen? How did your
I
parents?
lost my father when I was 14, and family wanted to look after us, so we went to London. It was terrible times. I didn't speak English. I didn't have any friends. I lost all my friends and so on. It was tough times. Let's put it that way.
And a difficult age as well, at 14.
Yeah, to lose your father at that age, it was tough. It was tough. And life was difficult as well, so I had to work and study at the same time. I kept, I did everything from washing plates to cleaning warehouses, I remember, for my summer jobs.
And you were at school as well?
Yes. Selling fruit.
Wow.
That was exciting. And then luckily I got involved with the restaurant of my uncle, and I became a waiter, part-time obviously. I was studying at the same time. And that helped, first of all, on the money side.
Obviously financially.
The money side was good because of the tips. So I learned to smile and and be nice to people.
Act. Yeah.
And that helped a lot.
Wow.
I finished my degree in accountancy. Started work as a chartered accountant for 2 years. And I realized that that was not for me.
You're too sociable for that.
Yeah, it was okay. It was boring for me. Let's put it this way.
But it's a great space to have.
It was a great experience, and I have to say, very useful for my future endeavors, if I can put it that way. It really helped me understand the business side, the financial side of the business.
Yeah, which is the core. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's as an auditor, I had to go around the whole of the UK. That was the good thing, doing audits even in Scotland, in northeast of Scotland.
Amazing.
South, it was incredible to experience those areas. It gave me a taste of England, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, which is stunning.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So many
beautiful.
people don't even realize how pretty England is. They just think London, but the countryside,
the beauty,
and
I mean,
Scotland
the lakes
as well.
And the Scotland and the lochs, and amazing place, amazing whiskey.
Yeah, that's what we were saying before. We need to have a whiskey now, so we'd relax more.
I remember, Farah, one of our clients was Lord Seafield of Seafield, northeast of Scotland, and we had to stay there for about 2 weeks. It was winter, snowed down. We were staying in this beautiful pub. We were having our breakfast, lunch, dinners there, and then obviously doing work at the farm. It was a castle. It wasn't a farm. And I remember the innkeeper used to say to us, "Okay, how long you have?" I said, "2 weeks." It's okay. Let's start from this side and start tasting all the whiskies over the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
So yeah, it was amazing to taste all those
Yeah.
beautiful
In the
whiskies. It
heartland.
has stayed in my mind for so many years now. Yeah, that period kind of finished. I wanted to move on to, uh, let's say, into business for my own. Um, at that time, one of my clients, I was doing some VAT and reports, financial reports for one of my clients was my uncle, who had a small hotel and restaurant in North London. It was called Cipriana Hotel, a
Okay.
33-bedroom hotel with a restaurant and takeaway. So I said to him, I was looking at his books. I realized that he wasn't paying too much attention to it, and because he was really a manufacturer of clothing, of
Yeah.
ladies' clothes. And I suggested to him, why don't you rent it to me? We negotiated. He put the price up. However, he said to me, "Okay, I put the price up, but I give you a chance of paying me on a monthly basis instead of, putting
Yeah.
deposits and so on." So he helped on that side, and that's how I started into the hotel industry.
Oh my goodness, that was one of my.
Yeah.
Look here, my second question. Why hotels?
Well,
You said I didn't know that.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and what
And it
I
was successful.
yes, what I actually did, I at that time we had a lot of coaches coming from Athens to London. It was very popular at that time. I remember £25 to go to Athens and another 25 to come back. So £50 you could go to Athens and back. It was taking 3 days. And
Wow, literally coaches. Not,
coaches,
yeah.
yeah, no coaches, yeah, 3 day all the way.
Did they have
And
beds on or was it just
no, no,
seats?
no, just seats.
Oh,
People used to go because, especially it was the young people. We
yeah.
had a lot of Australian and New Zealanders. They used to
Like
come
backpackers.
over, yeah,
Yeah.
because they used to come over for their, European tour.
Tour. Yeah.
And then the coaches gave them that very good price, and
Mm.
so a lot of them used to stop over in Brussels. Or in Switzerland,
Mm.
um, and then pick it up again and go until they go to Athens. And in order to bring business into the hotel, I thought, why don't I go to all these coach operators and convince them to use the hotel as their, let's say, arrival
Yeah.
port for
Yeah.
London. And they said, yeah. Um, and at that time, the underground was finished by 11 o'clock. So any late arrivals, they had to stay somewhere. So I used to get quite a lot of customers into the hotel because of that. And
An example of thinking
slowly,
outside of the box. Yeah.
yeah, slowly that filled up the hotel. And then they asked me, the coach operators asked me, can you assist us in um, loading the coaches on the way out, on the way back to Athens, and can you help us sell some tickets? I said, fine. So what I did, I got a friend from a travel company. Uh, I recruited him, uh, put a desk in the hotel, and we started the travel company called
Oh,
Cipriana Travel.
oh my
That's
goodness.
how I started
Wow.
my travel business. And,
And
and,
this was
and this
in
is in 1982.
82. Okay.
82. And at that time, the business of travel was at the infancy, at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, and uh, there were very few tour operators. It was Thomson Holidays at the
Yeah.
time. Thomas Cook was
Mm-hmm.
just about a small company. We had two big Cypriots. One was the Budget Holidays, and the other one the Gresham Group or
Mm-hmm.
Cypriana. Um, and that was it. So the demand was incredible, and suddenly, from absolutely nothing, the business was bringing in about 5 million turnover over the next 2 years.
Because then you weren't just selling the
No, we
coaches, then
started.
you started,
We
yeah,
started then,
airlines.
especially the Australians. They used to say, "Okay," they arrived from Athens. Let's say you're from Brussels, and they said, "Okay, I need to go to various destinations." So they started buying air tickets to various
And these were the
destinations.
days of the printed tickets,
Oh
travel
wow,
agents.
printed
Yeah.
tickets, everything. I mean, it
Yeah.
was, and then we saw a demand um, for tickets for Greece, uh, and all the agents that I used to represent, they started representing us in the Greek islands and Athens and Salonika to find us accommodation, and then we started tour operating business into. I remember the first one was in Athens and Poros Island.
Yeah.
I will never forget. We used to uh, rent a room, 500 drachmas, which was £1. So 1 week stay, it was £7 per person. So, and the tickets at that time was about £90. So with about £129, you were going for a week. Holiday in a Greek island. So
Amazing.
yeah, so yeah, things were booming at the time.
And the name at that point it was Libra, or that
No,
came
no, no, no.
later?
At that time was Cypriana
Mm-hmm.
Holidays, and then in '86, my uncle saw the progress, and he started saying, "This is an interesting business. Can we do maybe something uh, bigger?" And I said, I only know direct selling. It was not with
Mm.
through agents." Um, and there was an opportunity at that time to buy Olympic holidays in '86. So my uncle negotiated with um, the CAA and the insurance company to buy uh, the company Olympic Holidays um, together with me, amalgamated or grouped everything together with my business as well. And so it was
The
Libra.
example of,
It,
yeah,
wa-
vertical integration at the
yes,
time, which was such a massive
yes.
thing.
And it
Yeah.
was, I have to say that it was too big of a group for me
Mm-hmm.
to look after. I was quite young, inexperienced in the, uh, let's say, the selling through the travel agencies.
Mm-hmm.
I only knew about the direct market. And after a year or two, we were struggling. And I said to my uncle, this cannot carry on. We need management. And at that time, George and Agis, George Mihailias and Agis Christoforou and Bilinos were leaving the Grecian Holidays Group. So I remember I found Agis in the airport, and I said to him, "Why don't you come and join us?" And that was it. They came in.
You were traveling somewhere, he was traveling
Yeah, we were
somewhere, and
actually
then
going back to London from Cyprus at that time.
it's amazing
So
how
yeah.
many people you meet at airports
Oh my
and
God!
what.
Oh my God! And so many
We
interesting
need,
people as
yeah,
well.
podcast just for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I even met my neighbor in London when at the airport of Larnaca. And
That you hadn't seen
anyway,
in so many
I never
years.
knew him. I never
Oh,
knew him. And he was actually a guy from Palestine, and
yeah.
he said to me, "I know you from somewhere. Yeah, I said, I know you from. We carried on talking and talking, and then I said to him, "Where do you live?" He said, "In this road," and I said to him, "In that road? What number?" He says 16. I said, "My God, I'm 18."
Ah,
so, so we met.
crazy.
So we're now friends forever.
You know that happened to me here at the hotel with
Mm.
my neighbor here in Limassol, who I'd never met. I think I'd been living in the house, okay, maybe less than a year. And this person came, they come and go. And then she was saying, her and her husband, oh yeah, we live close. Where's close? Da 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 da. And then she said the name of the street, and I said, I only know one street. I live there, but impossible. I mean, the way she was. And then yeah, we basically live opposite, and we met at the hotel,
Yeah, you
but
go.
not in the
We're
neighborhood.
not in the neighborhood. Yeah,
Yeah.
busy life. I mean,
So then,
go on.
and then, so
Well,
you got management in.
uh, then we negotiated with owners abroad at that time, and they bought the company out. I left at that time,
And you
and
sold because it just got too big, or you weren't
uh,
enjoying it, or
the reality was it became too big. Management that came in had different ideas of running because they
yeah.
were running a group um, with management structures
Yeah.
and so on, and that was not the way I developed the direct business. It was
Hmm.
more of a family
Yeah,
kind of
family friendly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't enjoyable, let's put
Hmm.
it this way, and I realized that they would
Yeah.
do a much better job anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The
um,
circle had
yeah,
come to an end.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I concentrated on the business out of the hotel at that time, the small hotel, and at that time there was the development of the council-led flats. Um, by accident, uh, one day this couple came with kids, staying in the hotel, and then they said to me after a week, "Do you mind if our bills are paid by the council?" I said, "As long as they pay,
Exactly.
I don't mind." And the council came and looked at the hotel, and they liked what they saw, and they said to me, "Would you rent the hotel?" I said, "No, I can only rent maybe few rooms." It was 33 rooms. I said maximum 11 rooms on one floor. But I have to vet the people as well. I don't want, rough and so on. And then I began that relationship, and this is back in 86, 87 that it started.
Like an
And
early
I,
form of a commitment contract, huh?
yes, it was. Yeah, you're right.
It's a perfect.
What you,
A third
it
of the
was
hotel on
uh,
commitment, and you're
commitment.
done.
Yes, yeah. And then I said to them when I finish doing my, let's say, travel group, I said to the council, "Would you accept instead of a hotel room, if I find apartments around the hotel, would you take them on?" And they said, "What about breakfast?" I said, "I buy them breakfast either at the hotel or I buy them, the eggs and
But why
whatever."
did the council need like overnight?
They are obliged, not
Mm.
overnight. They normally house people
Yeah.
until they find them a proper
Ah, so
house,
it's the temporary housing
temporary
that they were
housing.
using.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And then uh, I expanded the management of the
Like apartments.
apartments, and I started also buying apartments because I had the demand, I had
Mm-hmm.
the money coming in, so it was easy at the time to buy property, and that's how I started looking at after the properties on
Property
mainland.
management.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's another thing that
Yeah.
you didn't know.
I'm learning. I'm learning lots today.
Yes.
So from there, how and
Yes.
how and
92,
when did you come?
93.
Yeah.
Uh, I moved to Cyprus
Yeah.
in 92. Yeah. Um, one of my endeavors as whilst I was still at the hotel and that business. A friend of mine who became a friend coming to the hotel and the restaurant, he had a small manufacturing unit of walking aids, crutches.
Okay.
And he
And
says to
Zimmer
me,
frames and things like
yes,
that.
that.
Okay.
And he says to me, I don't have any representation in Greece and Cyprus. I said, have a friend. Let's go to Athens. Let's talk to him. Maybe he can take it over for you. So I did. I introduced him to my Gumbaros.
Hmm.
He was a childhood friend. And then we decided to represent him. Marius, my friend, said, I love the business, the area, uh, but I don't have enough money. And I said, how much do you think is going to be a requirement? So he says to me about £5,000 at that time. And I said, okay, I become an investor. You look after it in Greece. So we started the medical
Medical.
business representation. Uh, from those crutches, we started representing huge companies, Becton Dickinson, Fresenius, and so on. And slowly was becoming uh, a reasonably successful business too. And in 89, 90, I said, okay, let's get that representation of all the things that we have in Greece, let's bring it to Cyprus. And that's when I started Pub Medical Cyprus. And in 89, so it's now 33 years.
Wow.
And that business is um, representing a lot of
Yeah.
international companies. Is managed by Eva, you know Eva,
Hmm.
and Andros Piberidis, who is in Nicosia. He's the salesman. Eva was doing the administration.
Yeah.
I was
Your
just,
sister-in-law. Yeah.
yeah, and I was playing the big boy, the big boy.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, the
and
idea, it's amazing. You
uh,
can't belittle that. It's
and in '92, my brother, who was still in London, together with my accountant at the time in the office, said to me, "Come on, we need to revisit the travel group." And I said, "Okay." I
and you
mean,
still had the hotel at that point. Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, we bought a small hotel in town in the center. I gave it back the hotel to my uncle, and I bought a small 21 bedroom hotel in Gloucester Place, where
Okay.
the
Yeah.
Noble Hotel now
Yeah.
is. And yeah, we carried on with council and all the other business. And yeah, in '92 they suggested that we do the travel. I said, okay, you have to be very careful. We have to do very slowly. We will start with Corfu. I remember we only do 2,000 maximum people for Corfu. Uh, those 2,000 within 3 years became about 50,000, not just in Corfu, but all Greece. It was Greece at the time. And then, as he was becoming uh, bigger and bigger, I got a bit more involved as well. I was living in Cyprus, so traveling at that time was terrible for me. I used to go on Monday and come back on Friday to see the kids.
Mm.
And yeah, it's the Price Right. That was the name of the companies. Again, selling directly was growing quite fast. In '96, I had the opportunity to discuss with Mr. Lordos, the Lordos Group, and we bought Libra Holidays from the family. Libra Holidays was again uh, like Olympic in the old days,
Mm.
selling through the travel groups and so on, the travel agencies.
Yeah.
And that's how it kind of evolved. And then
And then you went back into hotels.
No, one thing I forgot about is in Greece back in '92 we uh, we were for the medical business we were kind of helping out these European Society of Regional Anesthesia. We were helping them out to do their congress in Athens. Uh, they were absolutely useless, and they called me last day. Andreas knows about travel, and I said, okay, I help you out, and I helped them out in September in 1991, actually, and then they loved what I did and how things progressed, and then in '92, the Secretary General of the society said to me, Andreas, please, I need your help. I said, what? And he says to me, we are doing the World Congress of European of Regional Anesthesia, and I'm lost. I'm lost. I'm getting money from all over the place, and I don't know what to do. I mean, I cannot match them. I cannot. It's too many people. And then I said to him, okay, uh, let me look into it. It was in Brussels. It was at the Palais de Congrès of Brussels. It was 2,500 people expected, and there was nothing, no organization, no hotels arranged, no transport, no nothing. So I said to him, okay, I'm going to invest to do this. I have to bring in people. Cannot employ people and then say to them goodbye. Give me a 5-year contract. And the agreement will be we will do everything except the scientific part. The scientific part you take care of, but we do everything else.
All the ground handling, the event organizing, basically become a DMC.
Yeah, but I ended up doing the printing for their books, and I remember with Felice Princess at the time. Now he's
Yes.
we were working until 3 or 4 o'clock in the day in the morning to get the book ready for the Congress, because everybody was sending, all the doctors were sending their thesis and so on last minute. That business eventually became Options Euro Congress, and it was listed in Cyprus in '97. It was the first service company that was listed in Cyprus, and then it was very successful at the time. We were doing about 8 different European congresses, because they liked the model. Other societies were coming to us to do the same. So we had an office in Brussels, and in Switzerland, and Greece and Cyprus, and it was growing quite a lot, and the listing in the public company here became a public company here, and then the group that listed us, Sherling, the investment managers, suggested that we do the same for Libra. And that's in 98, 99.
I was going to say, 98, 99,
Yeah, we listed Libra Holidays in the Cyprus Stock Exchange. I remember we raised about 2 million for Libra. But then it gave us the opportunity with the paper to utilize it to acquire other business, and our objective was to be a vertically integrated travel group, and we did the first purchase of a small hotel in Ayia Napa, in Prodaras, actually, sorry, the Chrysler Cove, and then we bought a small public company called Drusha Heights in uh, in
Hmm.
Drusha,
Yeah, Paphos area.
Paphos area, and because it was listed,
Hmm.
so we bought 51%. Libra bought 51% of that company. Then we started buying other small hotels until we made a bid for the Astarte Group at the time, which was the Cypria Maris, Cypria,
Hmm.
and
Bay
uh, and
later.
the, and the Laura. The bay we
Yeah,
actually built
added. Yeah.
ourselves. We built it ourselves. So that's how we got into the hotel
That's
side
how I know
as
how you
well.
grew. And then you
Bec-
became, if I remember correctly, 17 hotels, was it?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, in Greece, in
Yeah.
Cyprus, and so on. Uh,
So
I rem-
was it a good thing then going public?
yes,
Mm.
very much
Yeah.
so. At least for us,
Yeah.
they helped us grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the problem with the Cyprus market, because it's a small market, it was manipulated by many people.
Mm.
Um, and the reality of when you go public in order to raise capital to develop your business. Uh, when you develop at a higher level, you need different kind of capital to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to do that in Cyprus was impossible to get, especially after
Get more capital a
2001.
second time. Yeah.
Yeah, and also because of all the problems that people encountered back then, losing money on the shares and so on. Nobody
Mm.
wanted to invest again, so you had to rely on the banks
Mm-hmm.
to do things, and that's one of our mistakes. Overborrowed at that time,
Mm.
so people need to be careful
Careful. Yeah. Over
with the
leveraging.
growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, our belief at that time was going to be that through the market will be able to reduce the debt and so on, but
So
it didn't
volatile
work.
tourism.
Yes,
So.
yeah,
Mm.
that's one of the things that we all need to be aware.
Mm.
The I mean, our one of our biggest problems was the deal we did with Thomas Cook for the hotels in Bafos. We had commitment from Thomas Cook of about 10 million, and then they had problems themselves. So they said, we cannot pay you. So we were stuck, absolutely stuck. So that's
Yeah,
the
cash
problem.
flow is such a massive thing. And we've seen so many companies in this industry, close overnight. And
Yeah.
on paper, they're fine. But cash flow
The
is
cash flow is
crucial.
very essential because
Mm-hmm.
you don't pay your
Mm-hmm.
aircraft, you don't fly.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, the problems of the hotel industry is very the major problem in my opinion is the it's a intensive
Mm-hmm.
business. You need to spend a lot of money apart from the acquisition is the upkeep,
Mm-hmm.
and unless you have other capital to take you through either the renovation cycle that you need to do or to take you through if you have a problem with cash flows and some of the times it's a very
Mm-hmm.
dangerous
Mm.
scenario.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
And so here we are. And then you're also on Alltime Aviation. So you do private.
we forgot about the aviation side.
Yeah. It is hotel talk after all. So we're concentrating on the hotels.
Yes,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's all part of the tourism side.
um, in 2000 when we were listed, as I said before, we wanted to be a vertically integrated group.
Mm-hmm.
So as we grew in the UK to about 250,000 passengers, um, it
Wow.
was becoming more and more difficult to get capacity for
Seats.
for seats
Hmm.
and the right seats. You could get the
Right times and
Wednesday night, Thursday night, and so on. But those are not
yeah,
the good seats.
yeah. People want,
Uh,
Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
so in 2000, we bought a small. The group bought a small airline in the UK
Mm-hmm.
um, with 3 aircraft.
Yeah.
I remember we paid about 5.5 million uh, uh, sterling at the time, and then we within a year we converted the name into Excel,
Mm-hmm.
and the management that we brought in was ex-British Caledonia and quite experienced. And within 5 years, that airline was flying 35 aircraft at the time.
Huge.
Uh, yeah, we at the beginning, the airline was relying on the Libra group to give them the business. But what we did slowly, every year we were reducing our Libra seats in the aircraft
Mm-hmm.
and giving it to other smaller tour operators. So from committing to an aircraft of 189 seats, the following year was 150, the following year 100, and the third year we only
How did
committed
that
50.
work for the Libra group? Was that, good for the overall group, or was
It
that?
was, it
Yeah.
was, it was very
Mm.
profitable. It was making about 13 million a year at that
Mm-hmm.
time. It was very good.
Yeah.
Um, because slowly that airline started selling to all the rest of the tour operators,
Mm-hmm.
apart from the ones that had airlines, apart from Thomson and Thomas Cook at the time. Jet2 was not around.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like
and
different eras. Every few
yeah,
years, it's like
like
a
that.
completely different
Well,
stage of our industry.
actually, the managing director of Jet2, Steve Hippie, used to work for us.
Oh,
He was,
really? I don't know. Did I know that? Maybe I did
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
yeah, he is.
It's like, oh, yeah. Wow.
And that business suddenly was becoming huge. I mean, it was turning over about 800 million at the time, and it was no way we could manage it ourselves.
Mm.
We were mainly owners and controlling through the board, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was really becoming too big
Yeah.
to for us to.
It's huge. Yeah.
Especially, I was the one going from Cyprus to London every week, like I said before,
Mm.
Monday to Friday. Um, so we had an offer from the Icelandics to sell it, and we sold it in 2004.
Okay.
And then we had the unfortunate purchase and accident.
Yeah.
Don't want to go into it.
No, we won't
And
go into it now because I think it's just too upsetting for everyone. And it is, it it's just something that no one ever would want or ever could have imagined could have happened. Yeah.
terrible. I mean,
Hmm.
we didn't even manage to get in. It was we bought it in December and it happened in August.
In August, yeah.
I,
And I
I,
told
I
you I saw
remember.
a movie, not a movie, it was a series on TV
Yeah,
that was based on that and
based
just
on
how, a combination of human error
errors. Yeah,
and just faults in a design can amount to
correct, correct.
such a horrific accident.
Yeah,
Um, it was just unthinkable on so many levels.
yeah.
So that's then when you
I
exited
think I
the
think I think
yeah.
I told you
Well, I know this is
my
the in
life
depth.
story.
We love it. This is what we
uh,
want to. So
and
then, so you still had Libra, and you still had Cyprotels.
yes, what I realized with the accident, we kind of tried to save the airline and carry on, and then but then the tour operator was affected because suddenly seat capacity was not there. The airline had to be financed until we tried to do it for a year. We lost a lot of money at the time. So basically, we were borrowing, and the banks were very helpful at the time. They wanted
Mm-hmm.
us to borrow because they had abundance of cash, and they just
Yeah.
wanted to give it.
Good era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reality, we over borrowed, um, and then we kind of realized that the airline could not carry on, so we stopped
S-
it
So in hindsight, would you have stopped it sooner? The
immediately.
airline. Yeah,
I would
immediately.
have
Yeah.
do it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in business, you really need to know when to cut it,
Yeah.
cut
The
the
strings.
strings. Yes, and we didn't. And then I realized that the tour operating was not going to go anywhere. We were trying to sell it. We eventually found somebody who basically we divested, meaning that he put money, he got the 90%, I remember, of the tour operating, and
90.
90, 90.
Okay. Wow.
He just wanted us to be with a
Yeah.
10% uh, continuation,
Mm-hmm.
and we we sold it in 2007, I think. Uh, they carried on about 2 3 years, and then they stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
They uh, I don't know how they did it, but it was Steve Hippie.
Yeah, he was there. Steve, he keeps coming up. Steve, if
Yeah.
you're listening, we've got to get you on this podcast
Yes.
next when you're next in Cyprus.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, I mean, you know, in you being so honest and open about your professional life, how all these different businesses have their cycles. And that's to do with, you know, demand at the time, with technology,
Yeah.
with what's needed. You know, I know like in Lebanon, like really a really silly example now, but how clubs and bars and restaurants always worked really well. And while they were at their peak, owners would often close them for a couple of weeks, reopen with a different name, and spread a rumor that the management or owners had changed,
And
which
it
they
was still the
hadn't.
same.
But they were still the same because they said, right, why should it go down
That's very
before
clever.
it goes down? And they were still the owners, but they'd say, oh, let's say it's someone new. And
That's
just to
very
keep
clever.
on. But it takes a lot of courage to do
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, it's your baby. It's like saying, oh, well, I loved you, but, you know, I'm done with Mexican food now. Now we're going for Indonesian or,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, you know,
So true what you say.
and yeah, and just to have, I think that guts to really say, right, this worked, but it's time to move on. And I think that's what Steve Jobs always did and why it worked so well. But then that leads us on to another thing of how do you balance, you know, your happiness, your sense of purpose, and your family and everything else with your work, which is yeah.
You kind of get lost into work, unfortunately,
Mm.
um, especially when you do a lot of things, and then definitely relationships suffer. Thank God I had a very understanding woman,
Yeah,
Dora.
your amazing wife who you've
Yeah,
been with for I don't know how many years.
37 years.
37 years. I was going to
Yeah,
say 4 decades. I was close.
yeah, close.
Yeah.
Actually, 38.
There you go.
38 years. And
And three
yeah, well,
lovely children.
three wonderful kids. Two of them are working with me now, and then the youngest is still in the UK. He's working as in the IT and marketing business
Hmm.
actually, and yeah, he doesn't want to come back at the moment.
At the moment. So how did you balance it? Because I mean, your
It
children are lovely kids. Okay, you've got an amazing wife, which helps.
yes, yeah,
I know that's an understatement. But how did you manage it? Because you are a close family. I think you've got a really good relationship with your
absolutely.
children and definitely with your wife. So how did you manage to find that
As I said
balance?
to you, I used to go Monday and come back Friday just
Hmm.
to be with the kids at least for the weekend.
Yeah. So
I
quality
know,
time.
yeah, I know they were still suffering in the sense that I wasn't there on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
but at least they were in touch with me,
Mm.
and hopefully the outings on the weekends, and also I always kind of insisted at least the 2 3 weeks to go around on holidays around the world,
Yeah.
and that also ties you in and gives you
Gives the memories.
memories, building memories, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Um, and I have to say, during the Congress business, because that business were uh, always requiring you to travel around, especially the European cities.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the congresses, I used to always make sure that Dora and possibly the kids will go with me,
Mm.
even though for a week. So it
Yeah.
was kind of a nice get together, if I can put it
I
that
think it
way, and we
also
enjoyed it.
helps for the kids not to feel resentful for your work. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping will happen with
Yeah,
my kids. If they feel a little bit involved in it, if they can understand what the parent is doing and feel pride for both their parents and
yeah,
both and also for the work, then they feel less resentment and
that's so true. Very
yeah,
true, actually, what you say.
yeah.
Uh, and I think the kids did
Mm.
um, feel
I
that
think they're
way, as you
definitely
say.
proud of you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of love
Well,
there. I see your
sometimes,
family.
sometimes.
Oh, don't worry, Andrea. We're all going to mess up. That's the only thing we're sure of.
Yeah.
We'll make mistakes, but hopefully to be, yeah, just to
Well,
be
I
good.
always say this proverb or this saying: "Show me somebody who doesn't make mistakes, and I show you an idiot."
It's true.
Basically,
Yeah,
because
or someone who
if you
doesn't
don't
try.
make mistakes, you don't learn. You don't. That means you're not doing. You don't take actions. You don't do this. You don't do that. Scared of not making a mistake.
And you're not living.
You're not living.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
so
something we said on one of the other podcasts. I think with Elizabeth Villiga Tufexi. We said you'll never regret what what you did in life, but you will regret what you didn't.
correct.
And that's the
Yes.
point to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just do your best.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a little bit about hotels now and just say, so I mean, you had so many hotels under you at one stage and you were on the board and you obviously were the leader and setting the direction and the culture and the kind of mindset. But my goodness, did you have a lot of managers to deal with and then a lot of management under that? So obviously, and we don't have to get into that, but you must have had your favorites, the one you like more, the ones you understood more. And having seen so many different types of managers, what makes a good hotel manager?
Um, I think everybody works very hard to try and perform as well as possible. I think character is what
Well,
is
you think
very
everybody does?
important.
Everybody can.
Oh,
I wouldn't say that everyone I've seen.
they are trying
Mm,
in their own mind that they are doing their best of of what they should be doing.
okay.
Um, However, we are in the hospitality industry. It says hospitality, and it means that you need to be friendly,
Hospitable.
hospitable, and so on and so on. So the key is looking after the client, the customer. At the end of the day, if you don't look after them and you just look at, have to reduce my cost here, have to get you here, and all those are important, but more important is be in touch with your customers,
And their
uh,
needs.
and, and then look not only look after them, but create that environment that will make them feel that they are uh, absolutely wanted by you and the staff, and also provide to them the entertainment, the facilities that they will wish to have on every holiday that they
Mm-hmm.
do. So it's very important, in my opinion, um, to for the manager to be out and about and be with the guests. Um, the the other work that is very essential as well, looking after cost and looking about the organization. So
And the
you,
operational side.
you can do that, but you can do that, let's say in the morning, and then be out and be, and also create and develop products for the customer that will make them really enjoy the 2 weeks that they're here
Hmm.
with you, the week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Very
experience,
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure that experience is
Um,
the best.
and also as a hotelier, you try to. That's why, as part of the of being in the hotel, you need good catering, you need entertainment, you need facilities everywhere if you can. But you know, it's very difficult in any hotel not to have a grumpy guest, somebody
In
who
life, isn't it? It's not just in a
and
hotel. It's
everywhere.
in a family. It's
Yeah,
difficult, you know.
but
And yeah,
it's part of life.
part of life.
Uh, if you start arguing with him, and instead of saying yes, sir, how can I help? Sorry, we messed it up.
Mm.
Let's try and correct you. What do you want? Upgrade you. Let's
Mm.
do this, do that. A lot of the managers will get upset because it's very upsetting and insulting sometimes as well. But if you kind of be, create some humility within yourself and you say sorry and let me correct it, let me do this, let me do that for you, that grumpy person may eventually uh, apologize and and have a happier
Mm-hmm.
few days. Most of the times they don't. However, you stop him having the issues spread in the hotel
Having more reason, yeah.
and spreading it around the hotel and
Yes,
also
true. Because
in
if
our
they're
place.
unhappy, they go and they find someone at the bar, they sit next
Yeah,
to someone at the pool.
I
And
have a problem
sometimes,
with this one. I have a problem
yeah.
with that one, and
And sometimes you
uh,
have to remind yourself that it's not personal. Like some people have a lot going on in their own lives. They're, I don't know, they're just, you know, unhappy for whatever
yeah, yeah.
reason. And it's not to do with you or your service or the hotel or anything else. And you've just got to do your
Yeah,
best to,
most probably they had a fight last night with the wife and
yeah,
or the girlfriend or the other way, the
yeah,
husband, and
exactly.
so they are upset. And you just if you kind of say but why and argue with them, then he flares up
Yeah,
without any reason.
yeah,
Just say
absolutely.
sorry and
So humility, yeah,
humility.
humility is
Humility.
key. So I'm looking through my notes now. My
Okay.
last question for you is who influenced you the most in your life?
Wow.
Could be someone you know well, it could be someone
Uh,
famous, you know.
to be honest, initially it was my uncle who had a fighting spirit.
Mm,
Um, he always used to say, "Don't be scared in taking risks because if you don't take risks, you don't progress." And and the other thing is that if you kind of fall into a pit and it's full of S dot dot dot,
yeah.
uh, you will have to fight to come out of it. If you don't, you're going to be drowned in it. So uh, go,
Become a
yeah, take
fighter.
become a fighter. Take your risk, calculate it as much as possible, but it's still a risk. And then yeah, that was quite for a long time my motto as well. Uh, the other people that influenced me definitely um Branson was because of the aviation link and so
Yeah.
on. Uh, he very much influenced me, and
Although I do like,
uh,
I always remember his quote with that Richard Branson when he was asked on an interview, um, how did you become a millionaire? And he said, "Oh, it's very easy. you have to become a billionaire and then you just buy an airline.
That's what he said, yeah.
So I
But
always think of that as
yeah,
the,
I will never
yeah.
forget, we were in a Greek restaurant in London, and with um, with the Libra group during the World Travel Market.
Mm.
Um, and then next to us, it was Richard, together with about 10 girls. And then they got up to leave, and he started kissing all of them. And I said, "Oh my God, Richard, you're kissing all the girls. I kiss you too," he said. So I had a kiss on the cheek from him.
Oh,
So it was nice. And he
nice
did say
guy.
hello, and he was very pleasant
Right,
guy,
yeah.
very pleasant guy. Um, you mentioned Steve Jobs as well. I mean, that guy, his story is incredible.
It's amazing.
Again, he's
Maybe you relate as well with well actually, so yeah, he didn't know his parents, I think.
he
Yeah, his
didn't
real
know.
no.
He found out about his
Yeah, that he was adopted. Yeah.
yeah, and
And I think he
eventually
never wanted to meet them either.
he didn't want to, but he knew
Yeah, who they
who the
were. Yeah.
Iranian guy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it was an Iranian and I think an American mother. But he just said it wasn't important in his life. He had his parents. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is admirable.
but
Yeah.
his approach to the business was very good. But
And also how he coped with failure every time and
yes,
disappointment and then just rose up. Mm.
but that's what my uncle said.
Yeah.
If you're in that pit, you have to find to come out.
Yeah. And I'm sure, okay, we'll go into psychology a bit now, but having been a young boy that lost their father, usually that does make people fight harder and want to become a breadwinner.
Well,
Yeah.
tell you my. Remember the first job I did was in a wimpy bar in Turpak Lane. I went there. I was
Wimpy like the hamburgers. Yeah.
I was just around 15 at the time, and I said to him, he was a Turkish Cypriot, and he says to me, "Okay, you come, and I will pay you 60p an hour." I said, "Okay." So it was during the summer of '73 actually, and I went there, worked for a week. And then he paid me, and he paid me 50p. I said, "Why?" He says to me, "It was your first week. Next week, I'll pay you again
60.
60." I remember going into I was washing plates basically because I couldn't serve. My English
Yeah.
was very limited, and I remember crying whilst washing, and I promised myself at that time never to allow myself or my family to go through this again. But then the following week, this Turkish Cypriot guy again paid me 50p, and I said, "My God!" I mean, I was 15 years old. To take I don't know, a few pounds away.
The end of a
They meant
week.
a lot
Yeah.
for me, but nothing for him. And yeah, it was very upsetting.
And he didn't pay you more.
No,
And did you
no,
leave or did
I
you stay on
did.
that job? Yeah.
I found a job cleaning the warehouse floor. so
Yeah.
so
Good for you though at 15
uh,
not to
the problem at that time, they wouldn't employ you unless you were 16 plus.
yeah, and he was
So
taking
he was
advantage of
taking
that.
advantage. Yeah.
But it's awful how some people do that, but also how that taught you such a lifelong lesson
Yes.
of never to let anybody
Well,
take
I
advantage.
never learned though. I'm still.
Still a nice guy. Oh, well, we
I-
like you just the way you are,
yeah,
Andrea. I think you're
yeah.
fabulous. And honestly, I'm just so humbled and so grateful that you've shared your full story with me fully, because I didn't
With
know
you.
all of this,
With
but
you,
with everybody
you,
else
yeah.
listening, because I think it's not easy to,
No, to
bear
say
it all
things.
and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
share
yeah.
it all. And I think there's so much we can take from that. Also, just from you being so young and having to learn commerce in this way, whether it was washing plates, cleaning floors, and then getting into the accounts. I mean, your base for business
Yeah.
really really, well, for me, I can understand completely how somebody who came from such a humble background catapulted really themselves into such heights of,
Well,
the working world. And you've done so much for Cyprus and for so many people and communities, employing them, being there for them.
well,
And as far as I
I hope
know,
I
I've
did
always
well
had
for people, and
everybody has always said they've enjoyed working with you and you're a great boss. So,
that's nice to hear. Thank you.
final question, which is
Yes,
not from me, the crystal bowl. You remember the crystal maze in England?
yes.
Anyway, so this is our crystal bowl. So pick any piece of paper from here. I'll read it out to you. So this is our team have put together quite a lot of questions.
Wow.
Sometimes they've written who. So who is Stone? Someone said Stone. I don't know who that is. A code name. You know who you are. So they've said, what's your favorite restaurant of our hotel? Sometimes they're deeper questions than this and other times simple. I think I know the answer to this, but you tell us.
I'll give you one guess.
Actually,
I'm a regular.
you're
at the
you're a
Sailors.
regular of two, but I was going to say sailors.
Yes. Yeah,
Sailors, yeah.
It's amazing,
You love
place.
sailors.
I still want to convince you that to do the champagne bar at the top.
Bar at the top. I think at some point we're going to have to do it, to do a nice, on the second floor, to do a nice bar.
It's the most beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know about champagne
location.
though. We don't want to drink champagne. We want whiskey.
No.
Let's do a whiskey bar.
Yeah. Whiskey bar or
Who
cocktail.
cares about
Yeah, that's a very
champagne?
good idea.
Let's do a
actually.
whiskey bar.
Whiskey bar or cocktails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Beautiful.
the view from there is incredible.
Incredible.
I mean, every guest and friend I take there, they love the place. I mean, it's the only location that you're looking from the sea.
From the sea to into Limassol. You feel like you're on a lake.
Yeah.
Well, I think, obviously I'm biased, but I think for me, part of the sailor's appeal is just the ease of it. I mean, it's a nice drive to get there from whether you're coming from Nicosia or Limassol town. It's just a pleasant drive. You never have a problem parking.
Correct.
The service is good. You know what you're going to get. The quality of food is good.
But that's
And there's something for everyone to eat. From a vegan to a meat eater to a
everything.
fish.
Yeah. No, don't change that environment. I'm just saying on top.
Yeah, we need
just the top. Don't change the sailor's rest. You're right, because the ease, the casual but nice.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. You're having a treat, but you don't. It's not snobby. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And also, obviously,
and now Golden Monkey. Golden Monkey is a
Thai
close
fantastic as
second.
well.
Yeah, for you. I know some people, they definitely say it's their first. The Thai food, Golden Monkey is great.
Yes.
It's nice.
Amazing.
Good
idea.
Yeah, thank you.
It was you, Sado.
Yes, you were there at the board meeting when
Yes,
everyone was fighting against the idea of a Thai.
Oh.
You remember, let's do Italian. And I was like, no.
No.
And then
No, you introduced something new in Limassol, and it's very
and people saying
attractive.
Indian, and the other idea was Polynesian. And I was like, gross, no, we want Thai. Yeah, it's
Very
been
good.
nice. It's been a journey also to do that and introduce that. But it's, as you said, it's all about taking risks and, enjoying the ride.
Don't take risk, you don't progress.
Yeah.
So, and you've done very well here. So,
Thank you, my
I
dear.
remember you as a young girl.
I know, fresh out of studies.
And what a change. And you're combining everything with motherhood as well. It's incredible. Bravo.
It's fun.
Bravo.
You know the drill. 3 kids and a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's
But
fun.
it's nice to see them when you bring them around as well in the business. So, as you said,
I know.
It's maybe that's the best way for them to
understand
be-
and not
to-
feel resentful.
not
I
to
think
be
so.
resentful.
Yeah.
Because they. Yeah.
And it's funny now because they come into the hotel and they'll notice things that I don't, and they'll say, "Mummy, there's a bit of dirt there," or, this wall needs to be painted quickly, and and I'm like, "Oh, thanks for telling me."
And you have to then take them and
Yeah.
say, "Look, I did it."
Yeah.
That would be very important. For
Yeah,
them.
absolutely. So thank you so much, Andrea. More every
Thank you.
success in
Thank you.
everything you do, and I can't wait to see what will come because you are very far from being done, and there's so much more.
I want to relax a bit now and let the kids take over.
Let's see
Hopefully,
with your influence.
hopefully, I made a good job with the kids.
I'm sure. Well, I can tell you for sure you have.
Anyway,
Thank you.
thank you for giving me the opportunity to say all this. Thanks.
Mwah. Thank you.
Thank you.